In July of this year, astronomers spotted a mysterious emerald-hued traveler tearing into our solar system at nearly 60 kilometers per second. At first, experts shrugged it off as nothing more than another interstellar drifter, the third ever after Oumuamua and Borisov. But as the weeks rolled by and the object, now called 3I Atlas, streaked closer to the Sun, something astonishing began to unfold. Rather than tracing the neat, predictable arc of a comet, it erupted into a spectacle of light, expanding and glowing with an intensity no one had anticipated. Its coma ballooned to proportions rivaling entire stars, while its light curve shattered every model astronomers had painstakingly built. Now, scientists warn that as it nears its closest brush with the Sun, 3I Atlas could blaze even brighter, and stranger still, rewriting the very rules of interstellar behavior. What could be fueling such a wild transformation? Is it merely the expected cocktail of ice and dust vaporizing under solar heat, or is there something far more extraordinary hidden deep within its core? The first red flag appeared when 3I Atlas slipped inside 2 astronomical units of the Sun. In an instant, its apparent brightness spiked. Normally, a comet's light brightens in smooth, predictable stages, but Atlas broke the pattern in dramatic fashion, its glow surging to impossible levels, leaving astronomers scrambling for answers. Even amateur stargazers, peering through modest backyard telescopes, watched it flare brighter than entire simulations had ever dared to predict. Spectroscopic readings soon revealed something astonishing. 3I Atlas wasn't glowing just from its coma, but from deep within its very nucleus. That suggested an internal engine of light, a process utterly unlike anything seen in ordinary comets. Some experts argued it could be vast hidden reservoirs of exotic ices releasing bursts of energy as they vaporized, while others whispered of processes closer to nuclear reactions than chemistry itself. Whatever the source, one fact was undeniable. Atlas was no longer behaving like a mere fragment of frozen rock. It was transforming into a beacon, and with that new brilliance came another enigma, its haunting green hue. Normally, such emerald tones come from diatomic carbon, C2 molecules, shimmering when struck by sunlight. Yet, the first spectrographic surveys showed no excess of these molecules. Still, as Atlas surged nearer to the Sun, its eerie green only deepened. Astronomers in Namibia stacked long-exposure images and captured an emerald glow so dense it seemed to shimmer from within, hinting that something far more profound than chemistry was unfolding. Some speculated that hidden elements or exotic compounds were volatilizing from the nucleus, revealed only under extreme solar heat. But others proposed something even stranger, that Atlas's plasma environment, a storm of dust and charged particles, was acting like a self-organized system. Electromagnetic currents seemed to sculpt its glow in ways that mimic the complexity of life itself. To casual stargazers, it was just a glowing green star streaking across the sky. But to scientists, it looked like a signal, as though 3I Atlas wasn't merely reacting to the Sun. It may even be evolving under the Sun's touch. One of the strangest features of 3I Atlas isn't what it shows, but what it doesn't. Unlike every comet we know, it refuses to grow a tail streaming away from the Sun. Normally, solar radiation blasts dust and gas outward, sculpting the classic cometary plume. But Atlas breaks the script. Instead of trailing behind, its coma has expanded forward, toward the very star that should be stripping it bare. Astronomers call this bizarre reversal an anti-tail, and it defies the basic physics of comet behavior. In stacked exposures, its shimmering green plasma halo seems to point directly at the Sun, as if pulled in, not pushed away. Some scientists compare it to a magnetic sail, a plasma sheet bending solar wind back toward its source. Others go further, suggesting it might be the fingerprint of artificial structuring fields, shaping streams of charged particles into precise, deliberate geometries. To skeptics, it's just another anomaly in a growing list. But to those willing to stare deeper, this anti-tail could be the strongest hint yet that Atlas isn't natural at all, but something engineered, maneuvering through forces we've barely begun to grasp, and time is running out. As October approaches, the observation window narrows. On October 21st, Atlas will slip into superior conjunction, lining up perfectly with Earth and the Sun, hidden in the solar glare. That's when its strangest behaviors may peak. But from the ground, we'll see nothing, just a blackout. Only probes orbiting Mars will hold an uninterrupted view of Atlas during its most critical and mysterious approach. On October 3rd, Atlas will scream past the red planet at a terrifying velocity, and the eyes of Mars will already be waiting. Reconnaissance orbiters and high-resolution spectrometers are primed to capture what Earth soon cannot, racing to pin down the true size of its nucleus and decode the strange spectral fingerprints glowing in its emerald shroud. But time is slipping away fast. By the close of October, Atlas will have swept past perihelion, dimming back into the deep void as quickly as it arrived, leaving only questions in its trail. And that's what gnaws at us. Are we simply watching another interstellar wanderer? Or is this the flare of something far older, far more deliberate, perhaps even intelligent? October 3rd has become a red-circled date in astronomy's calendar. On that day, 3I Atlas will make a dangerously close flyby of Mars, passing within a mere quarter of an astronomical unit. For planetary scientists, it's a golden opportunity. Mars is already ringed with orbiters and rovers bristling with instruments, each one capable of measuring brightness shifts, spectral lines, even the chemical signatures hidden within Atlas's light. NASA's MAVEN, ESA's Trace Gas Orbiter, and China's Tianwen-1 will all pivot their sensors toward the intruder, desperate to seize data. Earth-based telescopes will soon lose. If Atlas's core truly hides exotic elements or an unknown process, Mars-based observations may deliver the first hard proof. Yet this close approach has sparked an unsettling possibility. If Atlas can bend plasma fields and twist electromagnetic currents as its behavior suggests, what effect might Atlas have on the fragile electronics orbiting Mars? Could this flyby prove to be not just an observation window, but a stress test, an uninvited experiment? As 3I Atlas dives deeper into the inner solar system, the irony is maddening. Its most dramatic transformations are predicted to occur exactly when Earth's view will be blinded. Between October 21st and 31st, Atlas will vanish into the Sun's glare during superior conjunction. No ground-based telescope will catch its perihelion, the critical moment of closest solar approach when its activity is expected to peak. To astronomers, the timing feels almost cruel. For a random comet, blackout windows are merely accidents of orbital geometry. But for an interstellar enigma already defying every rule in the book, whispers grow louder. Was this timing chosen? Could its trajectory have been tuned to conceal its most vital phase from human eyes? If so, what is it doing during those hidden days, cloaked behind the star it orbits? And the closer Atlas drifts toward the furnace of the Sun, the stranger its very chemistry appears to become. Early measurements showed only faint traces of nickel, carbon monoxide, and the usual cometary compounds. But as its coma ballooned and brightened, new signatures began to emerge. The most striking, diatomic carbon, C2, responsible for that otherworldly green glow. The puzzle? Atlas shouldn't contain so much of it. Its earliest readings showed little to none. That means its makeup is changing in real time under solar radiation, as though hidden strata are being peeled away, revealing exotic ices and ancient molecules locked away for millions of years. Others, however, see the changes in Atlas not as chaotic bursts, but as a sequence, stages in a process unfolding with eerie precision. If that's true, then Atlas isn't merely reacting to the Sun, it's transforming step by step, in a progression that looks less like geology and more like engineering. Remember, Atlas is only the third interstellar visitor humanity has ever tracked. The first, Oumuamua in 2017, baffled us with its bizarre cigar-like shape and unexplained acceleration. The second, Borisov in 2019, stunned scientists with hyperactive cometary outbursts far beyond expectation. And now comes 3I Atlas, breaking every model with its runaway brightness and impossible anti-tail. Taken together, the pattern is unsettling. these aren't just random wanderers flung into our neighborhood by chance. They are anomalies, each stranger than the last, each daring science to keep up. If they are natural, then the universe is far wilder and more chaotic than we ever dreamed. But if they are not, if intent threads through their paths, then maybe these aren't isolated mysteries at all, but connected chapters in a story unfolding across centuries. And if that's the case, Atlas may not be the finale. It may be the herald, the opening act of something greater still to come. By late September, astronomers noticed something alarming in its recorded light curve. Instead of the smooth, steady brightening expected as it closed in on the sun, Atlas suddenly leapt upward. In astronomy, brightness is measured in magnitudes, where even a single jump marks a dramatic surge in light. But Atlas wasn't rising step by step. It was skyrocketing. Its output leapt so sharply that models collapsed into irrelevance. What began as a faint speck requiring advanced telescopes was now creeping toward visibility in smaller instruments, with whispers that, if the surge held, it might even blaze bright enough to be seen with the naked eye. But here's what truly unsettled scientists. It wasn't just the brightness, it was the curve. The growth was exponential, a hallmark not of random, chaotic systems, but of controlled release. Something seemed to be accelerating Atlas's light with uncanny precision, and the nearer it drew to the sun, the faster that process unfolded. Then came another revelation. Orbital charts showed Atlas's path was eerily exact, tilted just 5 degrees off the ecliptic plane. Instead of plunging through planetary orbits like most interstellar objects, it seemed to slip neatly into the same orbital sheet as the planets themselves, sweeping past Mars, then Jupiter in 2026, like a deliberate tour of the solar system's inner worlds. This low inclination baffled dynamicists. By all rights, Atlas should have cut across orbits at a steep, reckless angle, but instead, its trajectory looked tailored, as though it had chosen the very lane where gravitational encounters would be strongest. Stranger still, its path lined up with key celestial events. A superior conjunction with the Sun on October 21st, timed to coincide with a new moon in Virgo. Coincidence? Some think so, but to others the precision is too sharp to dismiss, raising the disturbing possibility that Atlas's course wasn't random at all, but scripted. And as its coma swelled under solar fire, researchers began to describe Atlas not as a comet, but as a plasma laboratory in motion. Inside Atlas's coma, dust grains became electrically charged, ions and electrons weaving into delicate filaments, shaping structures that seemed to organize themselves. In laboratory experiments, dusty plasmas have been seen to behave in eerily lifelike ways, forming clusters, pulsing in oscillating rhythms, even passing along wave-like communication patterns. Now, Atlas appeared to be performing the same tricks on a cosmic scale. To some plasma physicists, it no longer resembled a passive lump of ice and stone, but a dynamic organism, feeding on the solar wind, metabolizing raw energy into radiant light. Could Atlas be alive in some form we haven't yet defined? Conscious matter, sustained not by carbon and water, but by plasma dynamics? Or is it simply a natural system so staggeringly complex that it only mimics the behavior of life? Either answer would revolutionize what we believe interstellar objects can be. Yet perhaps the most haunting part of the Atlas mystery isn't its brightness, or its trajectory, or even its organism-like behavior. It's the silence. Despite months of observations, major institutions like NASA and ESA have released virtually no high-resolution imagery since August. The James Webb Space Telescope should be capable of resolving Atlas's nucleus in striking detail, yet no raw data has been shared. Officials might chalk this up to caution or data verification, but paired with October's blackout window, the silence only fuels suspicion. Why the secrecy? Why now, when public curiosity is burning brightest? Into that void, independent astronomers have stepped forward, publishing stacked images, spectrum charts, and real-time updates that reveal Atlas's anomalies as they unfold. Yet, the institutions with access to humanity's most powerful eyes on the cosmos remain silent. For many, that silence has shifted from suspicious to damning, a quiet confirmation that what's unfolding with 3i Atlas may not be something the public is ready to hear, because sometimes silence isn't ignorance at all. It's knowledge too dangerous to admit. As Atlas races toward its October 3rd flyby of Mars, tension within the astronomical community is at a breaking point. Mars will serve as the first true checkpoint along its path, and orbiters circling the planet are primed to capture data Earth-based instruments can no longer reach. Yet beneath the excitement hums a growing unease. Atlas is barreling ahead at nearly 68 kilometers per second. At that speed, even the slightest gravitational tug from Mars could reveal its hidden mass, and possibly whether it conceals something far more than ice and dust. If the flyby produces unexpected accelerations, the implications would be staggering. Would it hint at propulsion? Would it suggest intent? For now, instruments wait in silence, ready to register every flicker of light, every fractional nudge and trajectory. But for the first time, humanity is forced to ask, what if our neighboring planet becomes the stage for undeniable proof that Atlas is not what we think it is? And still, Atlas's strangest feature refuses to fade, the infamous anti-tail. Instead of streaming outward like every comet in history, its plasma and dust push inward toward the sun itself. To see an interstellar body behave this way is like watching smoke drift into a fire instead of away. Astrophysicists scramble for explanations. Perhaps electromagnetic interactions reshaping the coma into its sunward form. Yet others whisper that it looks like control, as though invisible fields are actively manipulating particles, harvesting power straight from the solar wind. Skeptics dismiss it as just one more anomaly. For those who dare to look deeper, the anti-tail is more than strange. It is defiance, a blazing sign that Atlas bends the laws of physics in ways nature alone has never demonstrated. And when placed in context, Atlas is not an outlier. It is part of a sequence. Back in 2017 came Oumuamua, the silent, elongated traveler that inexplicably accelerated as it left the system. In 2019, Borisov followed, flaunting comet-like traits yet tracing a distinctly interstellar path. And now, Atlas, brighter, stranger, and far more active than either of its predecessors. 3 interstellar visitors in less than a decade is no cosmic accident. It is a pattern. Astronomers once assumed such encounters would be staggeringly rare, maybe once in a century. Yet, in under 10 years, we have witnessed 3, each more enigmatic than the last. If this is a cycle, then it's accelerating, and the question shifts from why now to what comes next. Are these cosmic scouts each escalating in complexity, or have our instruments only just become sharp enough to catch what has always been moving above our heads? Either way, the cycle is underway, and Atlas may be its most dramatic chapter yet. As the calendar ticks toward October 21st, when Atlas slips into superior conjunction, the urgency mounts. Observatories across the globe are bracing for silence, knowing Earth will be blind for nearly 10 days at the very moment Atlas nears its perihelion on October 29th. It feels like the cruelest twist imaginable, to finally confront an interstellar object bursting with anomalies, only to lose sight of it as it brushes closest to the sun, when it might at last reveal its secrets. And yet, whispers spread that certain probes, and perhaps even classified satellites, will keep watching. Their data, however, may never reach the public. If that's true, then the countdown to conjunction isn't just about astronomy, it's about access. Who will glimpse Atlas's truth, and who will be left in the dark? While the brilliant emerald coma steals the show in every image, scientists are desperate to pierce through the haze and measure the true size and structure of its nucleus. Early estimates painted it as small, perhaps only a few kilometers across. Yet the sheer energy it radiates tells another story. If its brightness truly originates from within, then its nucleus could be far denser, harboring exotic materials capable of sustaining power no natural object of that size should wield. Some speculate the core is layered, stacked with hidden reservoirs of compounds that volatilize only under the punishing blast of solar radiation. But the most unsettling possibility, that Atlas's nucleus may not be solid at all, but hollow. an interstellar shell, engineered to protect whatever lies inside. And with Webb's high-resolution data conspicuously absent since September, suspicion only deepens. If the nucleus defies expectation, then the first true image might be the most unsettling photograph ever taken of an object in space. Meanwhile, radio astronomers have begun detecting strange fluctuations in background noise, tiny modulations that track with Atlas's movements. Officially, they've been dismissed as mere interference, but the timing is too exact, lining up with sudden surges in brightness and plasma outbursts. Are these signals natural, just the byproduct of charged particles wrestling with solar winds? Or could they be something far more deliberate, structured transmissions camouflaged within the static? The idea is controversial, yet history casts a long shadow. Oumuamua's anomalous acceleration once raised similar whispers of technology and intent. Now, Atlas pulses with its own rhythm, and some argue we may be hearing whispers not from deep space but from inside our own celestial neighborhood. And if that's the case, then the question shifts dramatically. Not is Atlas sending, but who is it sending to? It may hold the key to Atlas's strange transformation. The presence of C2 molecules explains part of its emerald hue, but the sheer scale of the glow goes far beyond anything ordinary chemistry should produce. Spectral analyses reveal shifting chemical profiles, compounds appearing and vanishing in sequence, almost as if the process is being orchestrated. To some researchers, it looks like hidden reservoirs peeling open, layer by layer, exposing long-buried ices and elements. But to others, it resembles something far more unsettling: programming. Each chemical state seems to unlock at precise distances from the sun, like steps in a carefully coded routine. If true, Atlas is not reacting at random. It is following a sequence, an interstellar script triggered only when the right conditions align. That script is now blazing across the heavens in green fire, and no one knows the final act. Each passing day, Atlas grows brighter. Each day, its anomalies multiply. And each day, the silence from institutions deepens. The public must rely on scattered amateur images, stacked, blurred, and incomplete, while the most advanced observatories in human history remain conspicuously quiet. Rumors swirl of embargoed data, spectra locked behind closed doors, and heated internal debates over what should and should not be released. The narrative may already be shifting from science to strategy, from curiosity to caution, because if Atlas is not a comet, if its behavior cannot be explained by natural models, then humanity is not confronting just a discovery. It is confronting a presence, and the greatest fear lies not in what we know, but in what we don't. Every orbit, every alignment, every flare of light points to a single, looming truth. Atlas is approaching its moment, and we may not be ready for what happens when that moment arrives. From the instant it was first detected, the countdown began. 3I Atlas was never just another rock drifting into our solar system. Week by week, it has grown brighter, larger, more alive. Its emerald glow intensifies. Its plasma twists and coils as if animated. Its path unfolds not in chaos, but with the precision of a script. Each move preordained rather than left to chance. At first, astronomers called it unusual. Then, they admitted it was unprecedented. Now, as it streaks toward perihelion, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Atlas is something else entirely. What terrifies scientists most isn't what we've already seen, it's what's coming. During its blackout window, hidden behind the sun's glare, Atlas will reach its closest approach, the moment when its deepest secrets may unfold. But we may not be watching. We may not be allowed to. Already, silence has descended from the world's leading agencies. Whispers of embargoed Webb data and unexplained radio modulations swirl through back channels. That silence speaks louder than words. It signals this isn't just an astronomical anomaly. It's a paradigm shift, too immense to unleash without control. If Atlas is natural, it is rewriting every law of cometary physics we thought we knew. If it isn't, then we are witnessing something deliberate, an object designed, a presence arriving on a timetable older than civilization itself. Either way, humanity is no longer a bystander to the cosmos. We are participants in a story written long before us, etched in trajectories, resonances, and cycles we've only just begun to read. And perhaps that is the most unsettling truth of all. Because if Atlas is following a sequence, then its expansion, its glow, and its silence are not an ending. They're an opening act, a beginning we cannot stop, cannot control, and perhaps were never meant to. As the sun swallows it from view, one question hangs over us all. When Atlas emerges again, brighter, closer, transformed, what will it have become? If you want to follow every step of this unfolding mystery, subscribe to Buzzbleed, share this story with someone who still thinks we're alone, and leave a comment below. Do you think Atlas is a natural wanderer or a deliberate visitor?